Hey guys, it's Mark with Hallmark Pool Supplies, and in this video I want to talk to you about how we change sand in our above ground pool sand filter. And for this demonstration we're going to be working with the S180T by Hayward. It is a very popular filter system for the above ground market. And before we do so, there's a few questions we have to ask ourselves. When do we change sand? How long is the sand supposed to last before we change it? How do we know when to change it? Well, these are all good questions. And the average sand filter, the sand is going to be changed about every 3 to 5 years. And it really depends on housekeeping, the type of chemicals you're using. But above all that, and besides age, we can also look at the pool, and if we see that the jets are weak and we're having to backwash the pool a little bit more than normal, that's an indication that we need to change sand. Or if we find out that we're using more chemicals to keep the pool clear, then that's also an indication that we need to change sand. So when we get ready to change sand, the first thing we want to do is we want to get ourselves a plug, and I have a 1022C plug. It's made by Hayward. It's a threaded O-ring plug, and we're going to be using these type plugs. You need 2 of them. Because what we want to do is we want to plug the skimmer. We're going to go over and we're going to actually take out the skimmer basket, and we're going to drop this in and we're going to plug the skimmer. And then we're going to go over to the return and we're going to remove the eyeball inlet and screw one of these into the return. By doing so, it now separates the pool from the system so that we can work on the tank without getting wet. Now, for you guys that don't have a plug, what we can do is we can come over to the skimmer line, which is actually hooked up right here to your pump, and we are going to remove the hose on the pump side, and then we're going to walk over to the return where the return hose is hooked up. That's where all the water is going back into the pool and circulating the water in the pool. And we're going to remove that hose and just lay it down on the ground. And basically what we're doing is we're bridging the skimmer line to the return line, as you see here in this illustration. This is now going to allow us to work on the system and separate the pool once again so that we don't get wet. So we can do it with a plug, and if you don't have plugs, we can just use the skimmer line and hook it to the return. Just remember, when we're done, we've got to hook the hoses back the way they were, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, so the first thing we want to do now that we've got the pool separated from the system is we're going to remove the multiport. And if you'll note, there is a collar here, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to unscrew this collar on both sides. Now with that collar being removed, we're going to be able to take our multiport and take it off. Now this is a display, so it's kind of sticking, and normally it would stay in there because the sand would be holding the lateral assembly in. But we want to pull this off, and now we've got this off. Note we do have an O-ring here on the multiport. We're just going to set this to the side. And then this is very important. This tank has 150 pounds of sand, and the sand is going to be right about here. So this is where the fill level is. If we have sand down here, it's not enough. If we got sand way up here, it's too much. So basically you put in according to what the label says, and if we look here, here's your label, and this is going to give us all the information, letting us know exactly what we have, because Hayward does make different tanks in different sizes with different media poundage. So at this point, we now have the lateral assembly exposed. We've got the standpipe here, and what we want to do is we want to get a cup. You can tape it, you can put a bag over it, whatever you want to do, but we want to put something over this standpipe because we do not want to get sand into that pipe or anything else. We want to make sure that stays open and clean. Something else I want to take note of. A lot of times when people do remove these to change sand, the lateral assembly or standpipe can get stuck in here. And so people will say, I take this off and this is stuck. Well, all we have to do is kind of wiggle it and play with it, and it will come off. And then what we can do, just so that we don't have a problem, is we can actually take that lateral assembly and we can do a light sanding, and we can also lube this, and we can also lube the underside or inside the pipe here, so that when we put it back together, next time we go to change sand, that won't happen and it will slide out much easier. At this point in time, we've got this open, we've got the tank here, we have several options. We can come in here and we can hand scoop the sand out, or we can get a shop vac. We can also come down here, and this is the drain. cap. And if we loosen this, the water in the tank will start to come out. But at the same time, if we turn this cap over, there is a fitting here. This is acting as a tool. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this tool in, and we've just got to basically line it up. Okay, so once we've got this locked in place, we're going to be able to unscrew. And as we unscrew, using the drain cap as our tool, we're going to be able to unscrew the insert. By removing this insert, it's basically a screen. Now, not only do we have water coming out, but we will have sand coming out. The sand will come out once this is removed. It is screened. We want to make sure that's good. We also want to make sure that the O-ring, or washer I should say, is in here, and we'll set that to the side because we're going to be putting that back later. And what we can do, if we're using the drain cap to drain the sand, come over here and get a garden hose, and we can just run it inside here. And as we run and flush all this out, it is going to eventually flush out all the sand. It's just a quick way to get all the sand out, making it much easier. And if you guys would like, you can actually set some plastic here or a tarp, and we can take out 20 to 30 pounds of sand at a time so it's not so overwhelming and piled. Then that way you can remove it, you can shovel it, what have you. I just find using a tarp makes it much easier to remove and clean the sand out so that it's not all over the yard and in the shrubbery and wherever the system is sitting. By doing this, it allows us to get it out. Once we get all this out and everything is clean and washed out, then what we want to do is we want to lift our lateral assembly up. And this is an umbrella style lateral assembly. These laterals will fold up just like so, allowing us to remove it. Then what we want to do is we want to fold this down. We want to inspect and make sure that all the teeth are here. There's no holes, there's no cracks, nothing's broke. The joints are good, everything is working good. We check the standpipe. We're just checking everything in general to make sure that this is good. And we can also wash and clean it because there will be a lot of debris and so forth. And this is the perfect time to clean this. And if while we're doing this, we discover that something's broke or it's not intact, then we can definitely address that and we can fix or replace any laterals that are damaged. Or you can actually replace this whole entire standpipe if need be. For an example, if we find out that we've got half of the laterals needing to be replaced, it would be cheaper and better just to put a whole new lateral assembly in. As we go through this presentation, I just want you to know that all the parts and everything for this filter, even the lube, the pressure gauge, the valve, the O-rings, the standpipe, the tank itself, the drain cap, all of this is stuff that I do carry, and I will have that posted down below for anybody that needs that. So at this point in time, we've checked all that. Then what we can do is we want to wash and make sure all this is flushed out. It's very, very important, especially when we get ready to put our filter sleeve on and our drain cap, because we don't want sand in there. We want to make sure it's nice and clean. And then at this point, we are now going to fold the lateral assembly back up so that we can get it back into the hole. We are now going to be able to open the lateral assembly all the way around, and then we're able to set it down. Now this is extremely important. Never leave the lateral assembly up. Make sure all laterals are down just as you see, because if you leave them in the up position, your filter is not going to filter. It needs to be down in order for the filter to be working properly. We are now going to be ready to put sand in. What we want to do is take the sleeve, and we want to, the filter sleeve here for the sand, and we want to get our cap. It fits right in here. We're going to be able to stick this in, and then we're going to screw it back in, just like so. Now we've got our filter sleeve in here so the sand doesn't come out. We're going to take our cap. We want to inspect it, make sure it's good, it's clean, the washer's in here, everything looks good. Then we can put our cap back on. We've got that nice and secure, hand tight. So now we want to put a little bit of water in the tank, and I like to put the water in here just a little bit above the laterals. So this way when we pour sand in, we're not going to have the sand dropping in really quick and hitting the laterals and breaking the laterals. That way it goes in with no problem. But the other reason I want to fill this up is it is now going to put this drain cap underwater. We will be able to come down here and just inspect and check it and make sure nothing's leaking. If there is a leak, then we need to check it. We can tighten it. Maybe you need a new washer. Maybe the drain cap is cracked. Whatever the case may be, we make sure this is good and it's not leaking before we continue. Like I said before, we want to put a cup or something over this because we're now going to pour the sand in. And this tank is 150 pounds. Sand is sold in 50-pound bags, so we have 3 bags of sand. And once this is covered, we'll be able to put the sand in. And like I said before, the sand's only going to come up to here, so don't think you're short and you want to go buy more sand, because if you put too much sand in here, that's not good. And we don't want to put too little sand in here and have it way down here. We want the sand about 2/3 full, and that's going to be the proper fill level. And so whatever the label says, that's what you put in, and then you'll be fine. We are now going to get our multiport, and we're going to inspect it, and we're going to make sure all this is good. Make sure the O-ring is good. Make sure that it's not damaged and it's nice and clean. We don't want debris and sand and all that in here because it's not going to make a good seal. So once this is checked and inspected and everything looks good, we also want to make sure this rim is cleaned and smooth and debris free. We can then remove our cup, making sure that this is all nice and clean. And like I said before, if we do a light sand on the end of the standpipe and put a little lube on it and a little lube in here at the same time, we also want to take lube and put a little on our finger, and we want to lube this all the way around. This is a waterproof lubricant. It's designed and made specifically for stuff like this, and it will make everything go together nice and smooth. And at the same time, it is also protecting the rubber O-ring from the chemicals and things like that. There will come a time that that O-ring will need to be replaced, but if it looks good, then we can go ahead and drop it back down, and we're going to slide this down and get everything lined back up just like we had it. We see that it's a nice fit. Everything's fitting nice and smooth, and having it lubricated will make a big difference. So at this point in time, we're ready to get our band, and we're going to be able to put this on just like you see here. We're just going to get it started by hand, and then I'm going to come over here and do this side. And if you noticed, I took this off with a drill because we were just loosening it. What I like to do when we put this on is I don't like to use the drill. I like to use the screwdriver. This way we don't strip anything, and then we can get it torqued down to the desired tightness that we want, because with the drill sometimes it can over tighten. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to snug this up, and I've got a little bit of a gap here. And we're going to do the same thing over here. As you can see, the gap is a little bigger, but as I tighten this up, we're going to make it the same as the other side. And we're going to get it down just about like that, like we have on the other side here. And this way, we've got it fit real good, but it's not tight. And so now at this point, we want to tap all the way around the band. And then we're going to tighten a little more on both sides. Then we're going to tap again. And by doing it this way, we're drawing the band in evenly so that we get a nice secure fit. We don't want to just tighten it on one side because it will leak on the other side. These are just little screw covers that they put on here just to protect the screw. We'll put those back on. Like I said, we're now going to come and check it and just make sure that we're good and tight. And we're going to check it over here, and we're good and tight. And at this point in time, we think everything is good. And so what we want to do now is, since we're done doing the sand change, we want to now remove the plugs in the pool or switch the hoses like we talked about before. And then we're going to be ready to fire this up. But the first thing we want to do when we start our filter after changing the sand is we want to turn the filter into the backwash position when we start it. What we're going to do is we're going to flush and rinse out the system. The sand is new, it's clean, but it does have a lot of film, so we want to backwash it for a good minute. Then when we're done, we turn it off. Can now rotate it to rinse. We're going to turn it on, and we're just going to rinse the tank and rinse all the film and everything out of the sand, and all of that goes right out the backwash. And at that point, once we're done, we're then going to put it into filter position. And while it's in the filter position, we're going to turn it back on. And this is the time when we want to check everything and make sure that we don't have any leaks here, that we don't have any leaks anywhere else. Everything looks good. And let's just say we turn it on and we see that it's leaking a little bit. Well, if this is the case, then what we want to do is we never want to tighten this or adjust this while it's running because it's under pressure. What we want to do is we want to turn off the pump and filter, And we want to come back here, tap around it a little bit, snug it up a little bit more evenly on both sides. Remember, we want to keep the flange the same on both sides. We've got a nice, even, tight fit. And at this point, we turn it back on and we notice that it's not leaking, then we're good. We don't need to mess with it anymore. We just want to make sure it's not leaking, but that's how we do it. Just make sure when you adjust or tighten this that the system is off. And so if any of you guys need help or you have a difficult pool-related problem or a question, the fastest way to get in contact with me is through a link down below where you can book a phone session, and I will be glad to help. And for any of you guys that made it this far in the video, if you want to get a little more information on a filter system like this and how it operates, check out this video. It's on basic filter operation, where I go into a little bit more detail and show exactly how this works and how to operate it. So I do appreciate everybody watching. Remember, it's at Hallmark Pool Supplies for all your pool needs. As always, my name is Mark, and I'll see you guys on the next video.